even if all Palestinians in Gaza did support Hamas, which they do not, the relentless bombings of civilians there would still be abhorrent. Collective punishment is a war crime.
How do you say Hamas doesn't represent the Palestinian people when they voted Hamas in to represent them?
First, that election happened in 2006, and there hasn't been one since. And given that children make up roughly half of Gaza's population, that means most Gazans weren't even born when the last election took place. Hamas didn't win a majority. It only won with a bare plurality of the votes, and it did so by running against Fatah, which was widely reviled for incompetence and corruption at the time. Those were the key issues in that election. Also, Hamas went out of its way to present itself as more moderate back then. In fact, here is that same Hamas official who recently justified the October 7th attacks, shortly before that 2006 election.
We are a moderate organisation. Really, we are not a radical organisation, and we are not extremist or fundamentalist. No, we are an open-minded organisation, believe in democracy and freedom and political pluralization.
Because look, it is true that Gazans did, at one point, elect Hamas. But if you think that makes them all complicit in war crimes their government commits, then boy, do I have bad news for you about decades of US foreign policy. And also, many Gazans will say that they don't want Hamas in charge. Polls show if true peace were available, many Palestinians would embrace it. In fact, one conducted right before October 7 found 73% favouring a peaceful settlement to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And it's notable that in July, despite all the restrictions on dissent in Gaza, there were actually people on the streets chanting slogans including "Fuck off Hamas" and "We want to live." Even if all Palestinians in Gaza did support Hamas, which they do not, the relentless bombings of civilians there would still be abhorrent. Collective punishment is a war crime. But the fact is there is much more criticism of Hamas in Gaza than Americans in general, and these dipshits in particular, are willing to admit. Palestinians in Gaza are not a monolith.